Welcome friends to the discussion of a second test of a NISHCHAY 2023, a LOKAYAN IAS Academy initiative of a prelim test series. We will launch you into the orbit of success. So the second test is based on history and modern India is mainly covered into it. So let's have a discussion of it. We had a detailed explanation of it in our answer sheets, but this video will guide you to some of the good answers which we can sort. First question about Warren Hastings, one of the founder of a British Empire in India he was, along with Robert Clive. So during his term, the Second Anglo-Maratha War and the First Anglo-Mysore War was fought. So in his times, Warren Hastings, he has gone through the First Anglo-Maratha War and British suffered largely into it. So this statement may not be correct. The Regulating Act of 73 was passed in his term. That is correct. Hastings abolished a dual system that has been established by Robert Clive. That is correct. The dual system was notorious and very unpopular. It brought a lot of trouble to the Bengal, and nearly 1/3 of the population of Bengal died into it. So finally, Warren Hastings gone for reforms and abolished it. So 2 and 3 is the correct statements. First is not wrong. Which of the following statement is correct about a Second Anglo-Maratha War, 1803 to 1805? So there are complicated sentences which you may not be knowing detail. The different treaties like Surji and Jangaon, etc. But if you see the second statement, all the Maratha forces were defeated by the British in this battle, is of course a correct statement. The first one was largely drawn match, First Anglo-Maratha War, 1776 to 1782. But second one, British did win into it. Lord Wellesley was a champion of a warriors, and he has won this war. Still, Maratha Empire continued because it has some force into it. So B is the answer. Consider the following statements. The act, which act this all about, is the first time that a British possessions in the India was used. So that's a Pitt's India Act, 1784, which has first time took a position that India is our country, our colony. Before that, it's a position of a company called East India Company, but finally British started taking responsibility of India. That gave the British government direct control of the Indian administration. So yes, they appointed one board of control to keep a control of the administration in India. The act made distinction between the commercial and political activities of the East India Company. So that's correct. It's the beginning of the separating the commercial activities of a company from their political activities, which finally culminated into the 1858, the transfer of power. So Pitt's India Act created a system which continued from 1784 to straight 1858. No stopping in between. The board of control over the board of directors who will look after the conduct of the company in the India. That was the main structure that was built by the Pitt's India Act. Rayatwari system, which is incorrect. So this system, Rayatwari, is in a South India, as you know, and 51% of agricultural land in India was under the Rayatwari system. So majority land in the English land in India is Rayatwari only. Here the direct contact was kept with the peasants. At least theoretically, there is no middleman between the state and the peasant as there in the permanent settlement. There was. And then the tax was taken on the fixed basis here also. There are like a 30-year settlements or sometimes even 50-year settlements in which for 30 years fixed tax has to be paid to the government. And after that is renewed towards upward most of the time. So the system of land revenue was introduced in South by the Thomas Munro is correct. This system was introduced in Northwest Frontier Province, Agra Central Province, Gangetic Valley and Punjab is not correct. This Rayatwari was mainly first started in Madras and then extended to the Bombay Presidency. So South India, below Narmada, this system was prevalent. So direct collection has been there. The rates were high, so relatively high of course they are, and open to being increased because once the period is over 30 years, then they should tend to increase the rates for the farmer. So B is the correct answer. The four pillars of nationalism, consciousness and pride in the ancient glory of India. So when we talk of glory and youthfulness, anti-aggression is one type of thing. So Vivekananda, the founder of a neo-Hinduism, he is like a development of moral and physical strength, awakening of the masses, and unity based on common spiritual ideas. So rightly, he has been called as the warrior monk. He started a magazine called the Prabuddha Bharat, Enlightened India. He wanted an enlightened India and not the one which is slipping, so slowly slipping. So A. Consider the following statement regarding Wood's dispatch. So it's called the Magna Carta of Indian Education in India. So 1854, Wood dispatch. It gave up the percolation theory of Macaulay, that will teach the upper classes and then they will percolate the ideas of education at the lower classes. None of it actually came true. So finally it's a Wood dispatch which accepted the responsibility of educating Indians. And this is the way the Magna Carta is called. Education of women was emphasized by them, which is not emphasized by Macaulay earlier, 1835. Each district should have at least one government school. It's also been correct. So all of them are correct, none of them is incorrect. Doctrine of lapse. So many Indian states lost the sovereignty and become British territories. That's correct. So doctrine of lapse was applied by the Lord Dalhousie, and Satara in Maharashtra was the first state in 1848 that was brought under it. After Satara, Udaipur, Sambalpur, Nagpur, Jhansi, one by one state has been taken over by the Dalhousie under this doctrine. And then a lot of people were unhappy with the illegal nature of this doctrine. It's true, and become one of the reasons of revolt of 57. In the Indian treaty, Indian ideas, the adopted son is a legal heir. But Dalhousie claimed that in the Britain, in British law, we do not take the adopted child as a legal heir. Now that may be true in Britain, but how in India it is very much legal heir. No? How they brought all the things in Britain to India and implemented. Then why he selectively putting laws on Indians thought. And that became one of the reasons of unrest in the 1857. So both and 1 and 2 are true statements here. Dual system, as we discussed in the earlier thing, Robert Clive, 1765 to 72, the system run and was a havoc and the Bengali people and the suffering multiplied in this period. Finally, Warner stopped it. With the Indian National Congress, which of the following pairs are correctly matched? So Raj Bihari Bose Madras correct. In Surat in 1907, he was controversial, and therefore purposely moderates made him the president again in 1908 to show that he is our president. Gandhi was once in the life only. In Belgaum, 24 was the president, and Motilal Nehru, before his death, was last time the president in Kolkata, 1928. So all of them are correct. 1, 2, 3. Consider the following pairs. So Kothari Commission 64, Vardha scheme of basic education, also called Nai Talim or Bunyadi Shiksha 37. But Sadler University Commission was earlier. It was there in the 1917 to look after the Curzon's excesses in the university system and governmentalization of universities in India. And Sadler Commission restored the autonomy of the universities largely to attract the Indian students back to the universities, because otherwise in between the national education has captivated the minds of people and people are going there in those times. So 3 is not correct. Which is the following statement regarding Morley Minto reforms? So incorrect. So now these are all correct, like detailed facts are there. Central Legislature Council, Legislative Council of Bengal, Madras, Bombay, UP, 50 members, Legislative Council of Punjab, Burma and Assam. Purpose this question is came. A lot of questions come on these acts. British ruled by acts. So all their acts, including 1773 Regulating Act, 1784 Pitt's India Act, 1793 Charter Act, 1813 Charter Act, 1833 Charter Act, 1853 Charter Act, 1858 Better Government of India Act, 1861 Indian Council Act, 1892 Indian Council Act, 1909 Morley Minto Act, 1919 Montagu-Chelmsford Act, 1935 Government of India Act, and finally 1947 Independence of India Act. All these acts are very important. If you want to do it properly, then all the marks of this act are yours. Like none of them will go wrong. Like because acts are word to word correct. They are going to feel like there is no ambiguity into it. Facts are facts. So this therefore questions are kept. Surat split. So which of the following is correct? The difference between the model extremists become official at Surat, correct? And split happened. The models also want to drop the resolution of Swadeshi boycott. Yes, the 4-point program is a popular program by the extremists, and models want to get rid of it, and that become one of the reason of clash between the both. Correct, not correct regarding the Government of India Act 1919. So most all of them are correct. Diarchy was introduced in the provinces, and then there are two classes: administrators and executive councillors and ministers. Governor was executive head. Interestingly, today's governor also trying same thing. Some way say the subject were divided into two lists: reserved and transferred. Also correct. So none of them is incorrect. D. Consider the following: Jallianwala Bagh, Rabindranath Tagore gave up his Kaisar Hind. No, it's opposite. Kaisar Hind is given up by Gandhi, and Tagore gave up his knighthood, the Sir. The government set up a Hunter Commission to inquire into the. So that's correct. 6 members were there, 4 were British and 2 were Indians. Ultimately, these 2 Indian members resigned as a protest when the Hunter Commission gave the clean sheet to the General Dyer. So see, 3 only. Consider the following statement about a Munda rebellion. So Ulgulan, it has been called the Great Commotion, and 1899 was the year. Here the 1894 has come. So that way 1 only, not C, but A, like 1 only is correct. Which of the following statement was incorrect? Subhash Chandra Bose joined the Indian National Congress in 1921. Correct. He started a newspaper called Swaraj after resigning from ICS. He joined Swaraj, the newspaper. He started president of All India Youth Congress and also the secretary for Bengal State Congress. Also correct. He also became the mayor of the Kolkata once. So D, none of them is incorrect. Gandhi's instructions to the various sections during the Quit India movement. So in the speech on the 8th August 1942 at Golia Tank, Mumbai, he has addressed the each group separately and talked about how they should conduct themselves in the movement. So students can leave the studies if they are confident enough. Soldiers in the army refrain from hiding, and government servants do not resign from the job but proclaim loyalty to INC. So it is basically incorrect, which has been correct. So all of the incorrect. Students can leave the studies if they are confident enough. Gandhi in 1920 non-coercion movement only told the students to give up the education. And that it was very controversial. Somebody said that education can wait but not Swaraj. So the person in 1920 gave the call, there is no question on 1942 taking reverse position of it. Soldier is the only group he not called anything in the 42 movement. He still wanted a victory of the democratic governments of Britain and America against the dictatorship of Germany. And it was the only group he left untouched in his speech. And government servant in 20 only made it clear, ispare uspara. Either you come on the side of a movement or you continue with the British and suppress our movement. But do not claim sitting there that we are compassionate about the movement. So this way, all of them are incorrect. Then none of them is correct. Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, known as the Frontier Gandhi, Sarhad Gandhi has been called as, or also called as the Bacha Khan, or also called as the Basha Khan. Multiple names he had. He founded a Khudai Khidmatgar movement in the 1929. The red shirts, they're also been locally called as. He also had a newspaper called Paktun in the Pashto language. So none of them is incorrect. D, both are correct. Incorrect about Bhagat Singh. He founded Naujawan Bharat Sabha is correct, and HSRO array also is correct. So which of the following is correct is like thing not incorrect. So both statements are correct. Is Naujawan Bharat Sabha will remain as a front organization for doing the open-ended work, and HSRA is first All India revolutionary organization, but is to work secretly. Nil Darpan, a famous drama on the suffering of the plantation labor, is written by the Dinabandhu Mitra, is a writer. C. So that time he hid his name and anonymous he was, but later it came out that it's Dinabandhu Mitra who wrote it. The Mirror of Indigo. Congress Khilafat Swaraj Party formation in the aftermath. So who is the founder of a Congress Khilafat Swaraj Party? These are the changes in the Congress. So the president of Congress Khilafat Swaraj Party, Chittaranjan Das, secretary was Motilal Nehru, and one of the main supporters from Maharashtra was Narsingh Chintamani Kelkar, NC Kelkar. So C is answer. Arrange the following movements in the ascending order of the occurrence. The Pagalpanthi, Tebagha, Kuka movement, Bardoli, and Eka Satyagraha. So these are the small movements. A lot of peasants and the tribal movements have been asked. A lot of subaltern history has come up in the, and they are asking these details. So one has to go through these dates properly and be correct about it. So 1, 3, 5, 4, 2 is the sequence. Is the explanation sheet. All movements are discussed in detail. You can go through it. So Kuka movement. Kuka movement is basically when Ram Singh Kuka in Punjab, 1870s. This was a popular movement. And Bhagwan Jawaharlal is also behind it. But surely not a Haji Sarayatullah who was behind the Wahhabi movement in India. So first is not correct. Wahhabi movement, a disciple of Haji Sarayatullah, was a Sayyid Ahmad Barelvi, and he led the movement actually. Indigo movement, Vishnu Vishwas and Digambar Vishwas, two brothers led it. So that is correct. So first is incorrect. Remaining two are correct. Tehzeeb-ul Akhlaq by the Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, Aligarh, a part of Aligarh movement. Tehzeeb-ul Akhlaq was in Urdu. In English, it is called as Mohammedan social reforms. Mohammedan social reforms. Tehzeeb-ul Akhlaq means the improvement in the manners and morals. So he criticized the vices in the Muslim community in India, especially Zubani Talaq, polygamy, and such ideas. Consider the following statements. The first All India Peasant Organization, the All India Kisan Sabha, was formed in 1936. Correct. In Bihar, one Bihari person, Sahajananda Saraswati, Swami Sahajananda Saraswati, a popular mass leader, formed it. Later he joined the communist, interestingly. The peasants also began to take a more active part in national movement hereafter, is also correct. So both statements are correct. So none of them is incorrect, but incorrect treaty of Allahabad. So Suja surrendered the Allahabad and Kara to the company. The Diwani of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa to the East India Company was lieu of annual payment of 26 lakh is correct. Suja was made to pay 50 lakh to the company as indemnity, war indemnity of war of Baksar. He was forced to pay. So none of the above is incorrect. All of them are correct. So that way D is answer, not A. So Suja has been getting 26 lakh and he has to pay 50 lakh. Bad deal it was indeed, the side of Suja. Alipur bomb conspiracy case 1908 is correct. Curzon Wiley, the first assassination done by Indians in the Britain is a Curzon Wiley. Madan Lal Dhingra 1909. Howrah gang case happened in 1910 in Bengal. So none of them is incorrect. All of them are correct only. With reference to the educational institutions, a lot of educational institutions are being asked regularly in the exam. So Atmiya Sabha, famously 1815 by the Ram Mohan Roy, it's the first social organization formed in India. So that we can, Theosophical Society was begun by the Madame Blavatsky and later joined by the Alcott. Izava movement is famously led by the Narayan Guru, and Tyagaraja Chetty is the founder of Justice Party in the Madras in 1919. And Sakhi Samiti is led by the Swarna Kumari, who was a sister of Rabindranath Tagore, and she tried to bring the women together into it. So none of the four is correct here. So answer is C, that is all of them are not correct. Reasons behind the decadence of a Swadeshi movement. So why Swadeshi movement declined? So our internal squabbles, especially the split in 1907 has weakened the movement is correct. Failed to create an effective organization or party structure. So movement was not much organized, also correct. Movement largely remained confined to the upper and middle classes and zamindars and failed to reach the masses, especially the peasant is also correct. Most of the important leaders of the movement were either imprisoned or deported between 1907 and 1908 is also correct. Deshmukh was deported to the US, Bipin Chandra Pal to UK, Arvind left to Pondicherry, which was a French colony, and ultimately Tirak was arrested and deported to the Myanmar. And this is the way none of them was allowed to continue in the India after the movement. So D is the answer. Which of the following statements are correct relating to the government resolution of education policy 1913? So curricula is so again educational policy. There are so many educational policies came by the government regularly. That first time in the 1813 Charter Act, they were a provision of 1 lakh rupees for the education. And then to organize something in India, 1835 Macaulay's Minutes is the first effort. Then 1854 we have seen the Wood Dispatch, a Magna Carta of education. Going ahead, there is also 1882 the Hunter Commission that came. 1904 came the Universities Act. 1917 Sadler Commission also came. Then in 29 Hartog committee is also there. Like 1937 even the Gandhi tried a Nai Talim as idea. 1944 Sargent committee is there, and 1948 Radhakrishnan committee. Later 1964 the Kothari commission also came. So all these education commissions and how step by step the education progress in India, what recommendations they gave, one has to go through properly because they're respected in the questions now. Because we are also going through a major shift in the education system now through national education policy. So in that context, it becomes relevant now. One can say. So all these details are correct. Industrial education also was urged. Pre-elementary education was also urged into it, though not started. Which committee followed the problem relating to the training? So it's a Hartog committee in 1929. It also talked about a tutor system, which is still going on indeed. They also talked about a diploma instead of a degree, because the degrees are costly and time taking. So some people can better become employable with the diplomas, they said. Which are the consider the following statement? Again about education, a lot of questions purposely are put about education, but as I discussed, it is becoming the main idea now. So all the 3 statements are correct. The Uttar Pradesh 1847, the civil engineer college is formed in the Roorkee, put in Uttarakhand, and IIT Roorkee, it is Thompson College it was. Bengal Presidency, the Calcutta Engineering College opened in 1856. 1858, Mao Presidency, COAP, College of Engineering, Pune, began. Later, the famous person, Mukshagunda Vishweshwaraya, was a student of a Pune's college. His birthday is celebrated in India as the Indian Engineers Day. So, see, 1, 2, 3, all of them are correct statements. Consider the following statement regarding the Anglo-Mysore War. Which is incorrect. So Treaty of Madras is correct, 69. Treaty of Mangalore, 82. And Treaty of Sringapatnam, 92. The 4th Anglo-Mysore War, 1799, Tipu died and there was no treaty. So only three treaties are done with the Mysore, the Madras, Mangalore and Sringapatnam. Consider the following statements. The main objective of Khilafat movement was to force the British government change attitude toward Turkey and restore the Khalifa to his former position. Khalifa was religious chief, plus he is a political chief of Ottoman Empire. And the restoration was demanded in the Khilafat movement. Turkey was defeated in the First World War and not second. And harsh treaty of severance was felt. So actually, incorrect is the second one. 2 only. So B is answer. Which is the following statement not correct related to non-cooperation movement? So boycott of non-cooperation movement began in 1920. Boycott of a government affiliated schools and colleges. Yes, on the program boycott of law courts. Boycott could be extended to include the resignation from government service and mass disobedience. That was the next step actually, including non-payment of taxes. So D, all of them are correct. Who is introduced the permanent settlement in the Bengal? So very famously, it's a Lord Cornwallis. 1790 he began as experimental. 1793 declared as a permanent. Like 1790 began as a decennial system, 10 years, but finally 1793 declared permanent, and 1793 to 1954 such a large period it continued. Nearly a period of 150 years the system continued in the Bengal. That's interesting. Consider the following sources. Which of the four statements are regarded principal source of Government of India Act 1935? The Simon Commission report, of course, one of the main sources. Indeed, the Nehru report also played a key role. A discussion of three roundtable conferences also played a key role. Though Jinnah gave the 14-point program, they were not accepted directly as a part of a 35 Act. So 1, 2, 3 is a correct. Which of the following leaders were convicted in the Meerut conspiracy case? So 20 has become famous for the conspiracy trials of communists in India. Then in 21 they suffered from Peshawar conspiracy trial, 24 under the Kanpur conspiracy trial, and finally 29 all major leaders are arrested in the Meerut conspiracy trial. So in this thing we can see that Madan Mohan Malviya was a normal Congress leader, right type of Indian Modi government as soon as come on power gave the Bharat Ratna to Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya. So he was not a communist leader as such, like neither G. Subramaniam Iyer, who was one of the major moderate leader from South India. So if you omit them, then you can easily find out Muzaffar Ahmad, Asa Dange, Philip Spratt, Ben Bradley, and others. So A is answer 1, 3, 4, and 5 only. Consider the following statement regarding Bardoli Satyagraha. So Bardoli is the turning point in the Indian freedom struggle and a breakthrough in the farmers' movement in India, led by the Sardar Patel, or indeed he got the name Sardar in the Bardoli only. So the most pivotal movement of the Indian freedom struggle, fought in Bardoli in 28, the movement is guided by Sardar Patel and not Jawaharlal Nehru. So 2 is not correct, only 1 is correct. So B is answer. Incorrect regarding Nehru report. Motilal Nehru drafted a famous Nehru report in 1929. So there should be a federal form of government in India. The residuary powers should be vested in the center. So they demanded a center to get residuary power. The 14-point program of Jinnah demanded exactly opposite. That should be vested with the provinces. Later the cabinet commission again tried to vest everything in the provinces. But then the Constitution Committee, Constitutional Assembly of India, vested that in the center. So this is, there will be separate electorate for minorities because it awakens the communal sentiment. So Nehru report rejected separate electorate for anyone. Nobody should be given a separate electorate. That's the position taken by the Nehru report. It recommended 19 fundamental rights. If correct, so one can remember the 19 fundamental rights. The equal rights for women and right to form the union and universal suffrage is also demanded by them. And a complete dissociation from the state and religion, secularism is also being accepted by the Nehru report. So B is not correct. They have said that nobody should give a separate constituencies. And therefore Jinnah came out with the 14-point program. And in the 14-point program, he demanded the 1/3 of the representation in the for Muslims in both central and provincial cabinets. As independence came nearer, in the last bargaining, he increased it to 50%, interestingly, from 1/3. So full religious liberty should be granted to all communities, he claimed. Sindh should be separated from Bombay Presidency. Explanation we have given all the 14 points of Jinnah, very important today. Full protection to the cultural and religious interest of Muslims, that he not talked this specifically. He thought that other things will make it up. So that is not correct. Other things are correct. Muslim representation shall not be less than 1/3. That you already seen. Consider the following statement. Pune Swaraj resolution at Lahore session is correct. The public declaration between 26 January and 30 Independence Day. It's Gandhi himself drafted the promulgation of independence on that day, and therefore 26 January is celebrated each year by the Congress as a Independence Day. 1907, Aurobindo, editor of newspaper Bande Mataram, began writing the new generation of nationalists which are not accepted anything less than Purna Swaraj, full independence. So these Aurobindo are radical people, and they talked about Purna Swaraj very early, before the Congress officially took up this idea. So all the three, 1, 2, and 3 are correct. First Roundtable Conference. So first Roundtable Conference was inaugurated by King George V on November 12, 1930. Ultimately, second happened in 31 and third in 32. All the three held in the headquarters of the empire, that is London, and all the three were presided by the then British Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald. First conference arranged between the British and the Indians as equals. So correct. First time on the common dais, Indians were called and British and Indians discussed it together. But then only second roundtable Congress participated officially, not in the first and the third. Gandhi Arvind Pact. So immediate release of all political prisoners not convicted of violence, Gandhi demanded, but that is not done actually. Selectively they freed the people. Withdrawal of emergency audiences, again promised but not done fully. Return of all the land not yet sold to third parties is also agreed, but again not done fully. Gandhi Arvind Pact was an agreement signed between the B.R. Ambedkar and Lord Arvind. It's not correct, of course. It's a Gandhi Arvind Pact. No, so very simple actually, just for practice. Consider the following statement regarding the communal award. So there was August 1932. The communal award was hurriedly been pushed by the British before even waiting for the third roundtable conference. So it offered separate consistency to Muslims, Sikhs, Anglo-Indians, depressed classes. But is that all? No. Far many groups like Indian Christians, even women in the 5 different groups offer separate consistencies. Even Marathas in those times offered separate consistencies. So this is not this much, many more like Arvind offered. Remaining is true. In the provincial legislature, the seats were distributed on communal basis, correct. And then the existing seats of provincial legislature were to be doubled, is also been correct. So B is answer 2 and 3. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, he showed that there is no prohibition on widows remarrying the entire body of Smriti literature. Indeed, he wrote a book called The Vidva Vivaha and proved that widow remarriage was very much prevailing in the ancient India. The Shastras approve for it and not disapprove. Although the campaign for the widow remarriage, he campaigned against the polygamy. He opposed the polygamy as a practice. To support women education, he organized a fund called as a Nari Shiksha Bhandar. So that is also been correct. Nari Shiksha Bhandar is started. So 1, 2, 3, all the 3 are correct. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar is very much in news nowadays for his efforts for reform process in India. So these questions are expected in the exam. One caste, one religion, and one God for the mankind. Famous slogan given by the Sri Narayan Guru, who belonged to the Izawa community in Kerala, the main farming community in the Kerala. And he led the Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yogam, the main movement of reforms in the Kerala in modern times. Chronological order. So if you see the things, the British India Association at Kolkata began very early, in 1851. It is just next year, 1852, Madras Treaty Association came. 1866, London came the East India Association by Dadabhai Nauroji. Pune Saranik Sabha, one of the most active ones, started in 1870. India League is in 1875. So if you go by sequence, it is direct 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Consider the following statements. The small group of educated Parsis started. So Renumai Mazdain Sabha, Parsi Reform Association began 50. Bengali, one of the member, SS Bengali, started a Jagat Mitra and Jagat Prem in 51 is also correct. But the main voice was Rashtra Goftar, journal in the Gujarati language. Rashtra Goftar means a truth seeker, and Parsis ultimately have become the first community in India to get fully modernized. So all of them are correct, 1, 2, 3. Following provisions about the which act? So increase number of members, additional members, central provincial legislature councils, but maintain the official majority in them. So majority is still maintained. The act made a limited and indirect provision for use of election in filling up the some of the non-official seats. Indirect provision of election, though direct provision is demanded. So that was the act of 1892. Less is given and more is kept by themselves. And therefore Congress passed a resolution that it is insufficient for the Indians. 51st question, consider the following statements. An Indian ruler entering into such an alliance system with the British had to dissolve his own armed forces. So whether it's not a key features, it has been asked. So it is been correct. That is one of the main idea, that he has to dissolve his own forces and accept the British army and pay for it. Indian ruler thus lost all power, respect of foreign affairs and the military. That's also correct. Indian sovereignty is lost by the rulers. The Indian state could also not entertain any political connection with another Indian state without British approval or even with other European powers. That's been true. So this way, all of them are that way correct statements. Consider the following pairs. So this way, this 1758 was the year Third Carnatic War began. These Carnatic wars are fought between the British and French, and they are fought in the Europe and India simultaneously. Where in 1754 it stopped in the Europe by Aix-la-Chapelle Treaty. They also stopped in India, but later they started again, and finally the Third Carnatic War sealed the future of French in India. But that technically began in 58 and not 55, and so third C is not correct. The following is the reason for the designation of Congress ministers in 1939. The real reason or most important reason is this one only, that the Congress is not consulted about the war declaration made by British. They say that we with all our colonies are participating. But also to some extent it's true that issues related to the presidency of the Congress are also there. There's a clash took place between the Subhash Chandra Bose on the one hand and the Congress Working Committee on the other is also been true. And regularly communal parties are accusing that Congress is sidelining the minorities and not doing the good for them, etc., etc. So even that to some extent mattered in this all. So D, all of the above. So all the three will take as a correct here. Most important, of course, is this only, but correct about August offer. So British twice gave the offer, once in October 1939 and other in the August 1940. And then war is begun, World War II, and they had to take the Congress in confidence. People of India in confidence because they knew very well that the war is going to be heavy for them. So what is the offer gave like? It proposed a complete freedom as an objective. That was the demand of a Congress, Purna Swaraj, but no, it was short of it. It again talked about a dominion status and not complete freedom. Proposed to extend the Viceroy's Council to include a certain number of Indian political representatives as a token towards self-government. That has been true. This is like one of the interesting provision. Offer was termed as a progress by Jinnah and his Muslim League and not by the Congress. Congress said that Indians are denied the natural right to rule themselves. So only 2 is correct. B is correct. Others are not correct statements as such. Which of the following is correct about the Orientalist Anglicist controversy? So these Orientalist Anglicists are the British people who were the part of the committee appointed by the government, Lord William Bentinck, to decide the future of education in India. There are 10 members of the education committee, exactly 5 were Anglicist and 5 were Orientalist. So exact tie was there. Finally, as chairman, Macaulay put a casting vote, a separate vote, second vote, and settled the things on Anglicist side. So Orientalists were led by the H.H. Wilson and H.T. Prinsep, advocated in favor of Sanskrit, Arabic, and Persian as a medium of education, Oriental languages. While Anglican talked about opposite ideas, English. They were led by Charles Taverlin, Elphinstone, advocated imparting the Western education through the medium of English. That's correct. So C, both are correct statements. Arrange the following chronological order and select the correct sequence. So Murli Minto reform came early, 1909, the Indian Council Act of Murli Minto reform. Then formed the Gadar Party, 1913 at San Francisco. Sohan Singh Bakhna as a founder president. And then happened the Kamagata Maru incidents in 1914. And then there is also the Champaran Satyagraha that happened of Gandhi, 1918. And Bardoli Satyagraha a bit late, 1928, led by the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So D is the answer of seconds. Ramaswamy Naikar, the famous leader, he led the self-respect movement, is correct, for the freeing the Dravidians from the Aryan dominance and ideas. He took the part in the Bardoli Satyagraha, is not correct. Bardoli led by Patel. He attacked the law of Manu, which was called the basis of the entire Hindu social fabric of caste. So he is very much against the Manu, politically followed Ambedkar, and practically he led the movement of OBCs in South India, because mainly in Tamil Nadu, the OBCs were dominant. The UNESCO organized the praise and adorned him as the Socrates North Asia is not correct, fully correct at all. It's all WhatsApp university that keep creating such interesting things. So not true as such. So 1 and 3 only is correct. C is the correct answer. So correctly matched pairs. How many of them? Like Fraser Commission, police reforms. Lord Curzon, correct. Whitley is about a labor. Indeed, because of a Whitley Commission's recommendation, only one act has been brought. One Public Safety Act separately and Industrial Dispute Act. And because to oppose this act only, especially Industrial Disputes Act, which is about labor, the Bhagat Singh and his friend Bhatukeshwar Datta has dropped the bombs in the Central Legislative Assembly. So it's about the labor and the rights. Butler Committee is about the state's relationship with the British. Sapru Committee is about unemployment also once, and also it is about freeing the Indian media or newspapers from the censorship in 1921. Press Censorship Committee it was. They removed the censorships existing that time, Press Committee. So it is also not true, but and Mansfield Commission is about currency is correct. So 1, 3 and 5. So 3 pairs are correct. Sannyasi revolt took place famously in the Bengal, 1770. It is first revolt against the British rule in India. And these are sannyasis outwardly, but actually they're farmers who are been suppressed with the heavy duty demands by the British. So in the forest they came together and revolted against the British rule. They famously sung the song Vande Mataram. This whole episode is captured well by the Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay in his famous novel Anandamath. The leader of Wahhabi movement in India is Sayyid Ahmad of Raebareli, we have seen, the disciple of Haji Shariatullah, and concern about the impurities that have come in the Islam in the country. So B. So Khonds in Orissa in 1822, the man-killing practice Narbali was stopped by the first Lord Hastings. Overall, this person is very big warrior. 12 major wars he fought in this period. Large areas in the country were brought under the British rule under this period. So Lord Harding was the person. Kadmi and Shahenshai, these are the groups formed in the Zoroastrians on the calendar, and then that was basically issued between the conservatives and reformers among the Parsis. Dash is not one of the important events witnessed in the year 1916. So Union of Moderate Extremists took place in Congress is correct. Lucknow session indeed. This happened. Home Rule movement leagues also inaugurated the same, it is also correct. Khilafat movement started a bit later. It became clear that Turkey is losing and British won of disintegrating the Khilafat. Then the Khilafat movement began around 1918 and not in 1916. So D. Which the following are the achievements of the early national movement. So all of them establish a political truth that India must be ruled in the interest of Indians. Moderate phase especially. It made the issue of nationalism a dominant role in the Indian life is also correct. They were nationalists. Most of all the early nationalists did a pioneer work in mercilessly exposing the true character of British imperialism in India. Drain of wealth theory, you may be knowing, correct. The early national movement evolved a common political and economic program around which the Indian people will gather and wage political struggle later on. Also correct. So 1, 2 and 3 and 4, D is the answer. Hindustan National Guards to resist the Jinnah's Direct Action Day. So it is famously Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, the later founder of Bharatiya Jana Sangha. He founded it. Jinnah has an organization called as National Guards. It is claimed that they are behind the riots that is happening against the Hindus in India. And purposely, the Shyama Prasad Mukherjee kept the name as a Hindustan National Guards. It's like an organization of Hindus. And they try to take a reverse attack on the Muslims after the Direct Action Day took place in Kolkata. So D is answer. Not correct about Muslim League. So the first session of the party was held in the Karachi. So this organization was formed in the 1906 Dhaka, but it was spontaneously formed that time. And first session took place in Karachi is also true. Jinnah was appointed as the first honorary president is not true. Jinnah neither gone in the formation, neither he was honorary president that time. That time it was, he later became president of course famously. But initially Prince Aga Khan was declared as the permanent president of a Muslim League in 1908. Headquarters was in Lucknow is correct. This is correct. This is correct. Dissolved in 1947, Patel put up the idea that if the partition is happening and Muslims want good in the hearts of the Hindus now, or they want to continue in India now, they should better sever their ties with the Muslim League now. So finally, 47 officially, the Indian Muslim League at least stopped. Pakistan Muslim League even today is continuing. Nagpur session 1920 is a crucial session in the Congress history. And Indian National Congress adopted a non-cooperation movement. The proposal is put by Chittaranjan Das and adopted by majority. Constitutional means was substituted by the all peaceful legitimate means. Congress said, but Swaraj explained means a self-government within an empire if possible, outside if necessary. So a lot of changes when the Hindi was adopted as a language of communication in the Congress first time in the Nagpur session. So Nagpur session devised the whole program of non-cooperation with both constructive as well as the negative type of aspects belong to it. So full turning point indeed. It is the beginning of Gandhi age. All of them are correct. Why did the Gandhi supported the Khilafat movement? So basically wanted its support of Indian Muslims to the cause of independence. That's the main reason why he supported Khilafat, though he knew very well it's a religious movement and one type of like a backward step. It is. So it failed to achieve its objective. So actually, it was adjourned and not failed. So here the answer will be after the Gandhi Arvind Pact, it was adjourned. It not failed exactly indeed. Indeed, it was a stepping stone towards the independence. Though independence not came, definitely the country has gone many steps ahead in the civil disobedience movement. Andhra Mahila Sabha, the far lady of Andhra is Durgabai Deshmukh. She is the founder of Andhra Mahila Sabha. She also published the Andhra Mahila Patrika, and she was the freedom fighter, also jailed in the movements. She also was a lady member of Indian Constitutional Assembly, and later one of the founder of, she founded the Women Commission, Women Development Commission after independence. So Durgabai Deshmukh B. Peasant movement is not correctly paired with the state it has launched. So Bardoli correct, Gujarat, led by Patel. Pabna is in Bengal and not in Maharashtra. Maharashtra, there's a famous Deccan riots that took place earlier. Kisan Sabha and Ekam movement is correct. Uttar Pradesh and Mopla rebellion. Mopla, the famous Arab Muslim tribes in Kerala, is also correct. So answer is B here, not correct. Chronological order of the things. So Simon Commission was the first to in the line, like if you see in this all. And then after Simon Commission, first roundtable conference took place, and then Gandhi Arvind Pact, and finally Cabinet Mission came very late in 1946. Gandhi Arvind Pact was 1932. Simon Commission came in 1928, and first roundtable conference was 1930. And so A is answer 3142 as a correct sequence. So the following statement about the government of India in 1935 is not correct. So diarchy was abolished in the provinces and taken to center now. It is failed in the provinces and still they are taking to center. Ultimately, the center government never formed. So we do not know what would happen to the diarchy in the center. Other things are correct, but Viceroy was given special powers as usual. The federal executive was to consist of Viceroy, councillors and a ministry is also correct. Federal legislature was to be bicameral. The beginning of today's Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha is there in these acts, we can say. So A is answer. So what is the sequence? So it's a Junagadh that came first, then come the Kashmir and Hyderabad came later, 1948. Indeed, India has done one status quo pact with Hyderabad for a year that delayed the accession of Hyderabad to India. C. Choose the incorrect statements. So interim government headed by Jawaharlal Nehru on September 2, 1946 is correct. So finally India got a prime minister first time in the history. Shortly afterwards, Muslim League was persuaded to join the interim government is also correct. They ultimately joined also. The League and the Congress member forming the government could not work as a team. Soon the disagreements happened between them. And especially the finance minister, Liaquat Ali, suspended the finance of other ministries and trouble came. Muslim League participated in the Constitutional Assembly is not true. Not in a single day they came. So D is the correct answer, not correct statement. First All India Peace Organization, All India Kisan Sabha. We already seen this. Swami Sadananda Saraswati was a famous mass leader. Lajpat Rai is incorrect. So Arya Samaji he was. He's a famous lion of Punjab. Wrote Punjab Kesari, biography of Swami Vivekananda. He also wrote a book on Joseph Mazzini, the famous Italian freedom struggle. He was a disciple of Swami Sadananda Saraswati. The founder member of INC is not correct. Indeed, he is a critic of Congress from beginning. He is a fiery orator, along with the Gokhale toured in England to enlighten the English people regarding Indian problems. He belonged to the extremist faction of the Congress. It's true. Indeed, he is one of the Lal, Bal and Pal, the first one, Lal Lajpat Rai. He was deported to Mandale and wrote about a story of party politicians, also been true. So B is the answer, not correct. Not correct. Second roundtable conference, the Congress sent Gandhiji as a sole representative is correct. Actually, you want to take the M.A. Ansari along with him to counter the minorities and their claim by the British. Lohe ko loha katta hai, that was the strategy Gandhi had. But British knew the strategy very well and they not allowed the M.A. Ansari. So finally it's a Gandhi alone gone. Sarojini Naidu actually gone to second roundtable conference, but as a private representation and not directly as a Congress representative. British allowed to send 15 representatives, but Congress ultimately sent alone Gandhi as a representative, all of them. Following is the main objective of settling the Asiatic Society of Bengal. 1784, William Jones, the father of Indology, has founded. It is the first Asiatic society formed, and later many such Asiatic societies did come up in the world. So conducting, promoting the study of Indian languages and scriptures is the main purpose behind it. Himself, William Jones knew 28 languages. He is a polyglot. He is rightly called as the Oriental Jones for his persuasion of the Indian studies. So over the period of time, this society done excellent work. So B is the answer. Impact of British imperialistic policies on Indian agriculture. So all of the creation of a new market economy is true. Polarization between landowners and tillers is true everywhere in India. Increase in number of landless labor is also true. Indeed, a major issue we are today also facing, they are the main constituents of BPL, below poverty in India. Unemployment among the village artisans is also true. The deindustrialization led to this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, D is the answer. Hope this must have helped you. These are 80 questions we discussed, and you'll join surely the Nishchay and then get in the path of success along with us. Welcome you all. Thank you.